Egypt and the classical world, cross-cultural encounters in antiquity. I am Isis, the role of speech in the cult of Isis. In ancient Egyptian texts, no deity speaks more than Isis. The goddess was depicted as interacting with other deities, as well as with her followers, through speech. Features unique to her were translated across cultural and linguistic boundaries, as her expanding biography responded to Greek influences following Alexander the Great's conquest of Egypt in 332 BC. One of these characteristics is her ability to engage in dialogue with others and to communicate effectively. Her verbal communication was a pivotal factor in the development of her cult, as the world's first universal religion. This oral patterns and performative speech acts of Isis in pharaonic texts from the Old Kingdom onward, and how her role as a communicator was later a central feature of Greco-Roman versions of her cult. In the Hellenistic period, Isis became a universal deity as changes were made to both her textual and iconographic representations in order for her to appeal to non-Egyptian audiences across the Mediterranean and beyond for a period of more than 600 years. Isis's speech in pharaonic texts. Isis, companion of the god Osiris and mother of their child, Horus, is a prime example of the eloquence of the Egyptian gods. No deity can be described in terms of character and cultic function better than Isis based on the texts that capture her direct speech. The abundance of sources in which she speaks can best be explained by the effectiveness of her words. No goddess has more influence over mythical events than she does. This attribute may have had its beginning in the myth of Osiris, a narrative that the ancient Egyptians never told in a single, continuous story, but imparted through a loose collection of references. One of the main events this myth describes is the search for the murdered Osiris by his sisters, Isis and Nephthys. Eventually the goddesses find Osiris lying dead on his side, because his brother Seth threw him to the ground in Nedit. Already in the pyramid texts of the Old Kingdom, which were first canonized in writing around 2350 BC, the two sisters are assigned the role of weeping and lamenting mourners. Around 2000 BC, in the Middle Kingdom, the speech of Isis is reproduced literally in a coffin text of a private individual, which suggests that the finding of Osiris and the subsequent lamentation for the dead was staged and ritually performed as part of Egyptian funerals. O tired one, lying there, tired in this place you did not know I knew. Behold, I have found you in this your place, great weary one. Sister, Isis says to Nephthys, our brother is this. Come, let's lift his head. Come, let's join his bones together. Come, let us tend his limbs. Already in the Old Kingdom texts about Isis include her lamentations, but also her comfort and encouragement for the deceased Osiris. Throughout the myth, the dialogue between Isis and Osiris is one-sided because Osiris is already dead, and must remain passive as a recipient of Isis's words, as well as the entire set of death rituals. Isis addresses Osiris's body, and what she says comes into being. So says a coffin text of the Middle Kingdom. Greetings, Osiris, and here, with what Isis, the mistress of the western deserts, says, in front be your seat in the tent of the god. May she pronounce your beautiful name in the bark, the sun bark of Ra, on the day the characters are calculated when the dead are summoned. The following utterance, which belongs to a speech that is attested in the 6 Osiris liturgies of the Ptolemaic period, is a later example of Isis's protective speech on behalf of Osiris. Here Isis addresses the 4 sons of Horus. Isis says, "Come, euphoric spirits, who cross the cool heaven. Sit, Hapje, Juamitef, and Kebesenuth, protect your father Osiris. Subdue his enemies for him. Take for him Osiris, his Seths, allies to the custody of the eastern execution site. Egypt